Friend, sit down with me for a moment. Let this old man talk to you the way I wish somebody had talked to me when the deepest heartbreak of my life arrived. You know, at 80 years old, I have learned a bit about grief and family and how both can surprise you in ways sweeter than chocolate cake and scarier than my reflection in the mirror when I wake up in the morning. And trust me, after 80 years, that reflection has seen some things. You asked me how to deal with your family after your husband or your wife passes away. That question hits me right here, deep in the chest, because I've lived it, I've wrestled with it, I've cried on the kitchen floor over it, and, well, I've laughed about it too, because if grief taught me anything, it's that sorrow doesn't come alone. It brings situations so bizarre and dramatic, you'd think life is writing a soap opera. Let me tell you my story. Maybe inside it, you'll find pieces that help you with yours. When my wife, Laura, passed away, I remember sitting on the edge of our bed that first morning, staring at her empty pillow. I swear to you, friend, that pillow looked offended at me, like it was saying, "What are you doing here alone? Where is she?" And all I could do was whisper, "Don't ask me, pillow. I don't know either." Losing a partner feels like losing the rhythm to your walk. One leg keeps moving forward, but the other doesn't know where to go. But you know what caught me completely off guard? The family. Oh, family can be interesting when grief walks into the room. Some show up with love and tenderness. Some show up with casseroles. God bless them, even if half of those casseroles taste like punishment. And some show up with opinions, unsolicited advice, and drama so spicy it could season a pot of noodles on its own. My eldest daughter, bless her heart, tried to manage my life in the first week. She walked into my house as if she'd been elected president of Paul Walker's existence. "Dad," she said, "I've made a detailed schedule. You will eat at 7 a.m., nap at 12, walk at 3, and cry only after dinner." Cry only after dinner? Friend, imagine grief with office hours. Even my tears were confused. My son took a different approach. He thought distraction was the answer, so every day he'd show up with something new. One day it was a brand new TV remote he insisted I needed because the buttons were big. The next day, a toolbox. The next, some fancy new gadget to keep me busy. I told him, "Son, the only tool I need right now is a hug." And that boy froze like he saw a ghost. Emotional conversations and men, still a dangerous combination. And then there was my sister. Oh, friend, imagine a storm wearing lipstick. She came into my home, opened every cabinet, reorganized my pantry, and said, "Paul, you are too old to live alone now. Maybe move in with me." Move in with her? I'd rather sleep in a tree. I love the woman, but she snores like a ship horn and cooks like she's asking for forgiveness from the stove. But here's the truth that softened me. They were trying. In their own messy, confusing, human ways, they were trying. And you'll see the same. When your partner passes, everyone around you feels the earthquake, but they don't know how to rebuild the house. And because they don't know, they often do too much, or too little, or the complete opposite of what you need. So you might ask me, "Paul, what's the first thing I should do?" Talk to them. And not with that polite smile you practice in front of the bathroom mirror, not the "I'm fine, everything's fine" voice. No, use the real one, the one that shakes, the one that cracks, the one that says, "Friend, I'm hurting." I learned that the hard way. You see, I tried to pretend I was strong. I pretended so well, I almost convinced myself. But family isn't fooled by strong acts. They feel your silence like a punch in the chest. One night, I broke. It was 2 in the morning. I was sitting alone in the living room holding one of Laura's scarves, and I finally called my daughter. When she picked up, I didn't even say words. I just breathed, that heavy, broken kind of breathing you can't hide. She didn't speak either. She just came over. She sat next to me and she held me. And I realized that was all I needed. Not schedules, not plans, not casseroles, just someone there. And friend, that moment changed how we interacted. I stopped trying to be the strong father, and she stopped trying to be the boss of me. We finally met in the middle, as two humans grieving the same woman. So when your family acts strange, overwhelming, distant, or demanding after your partner passes, remember this: they're grieving too, in their own confused way, and you can lead them gently toward what you need. But let me also tell you something important. Sometimes you have to set boundaries, firm, gentle, loving boundaries. Because grief attracts unsolicited advice the same way sugar attracts ants. I remember at the funeral, one distant cousin came up to me, put her hand on my shoulder, and whispered, "Paul, I know exactly how you feel. My cat died last month." Now, friend, you know me. I love animals. But if she had compared my wife to a cat one more time, I would have thrown her into the flower arrangements. So yes, boundaries. You will need them. After a big loss, some family members think they have the right to reorganize your life like furniture. But your grief is not a group project. It's not a committee decision. You must protect your space. I told my son, no more gadgets. I told my daughter, no more schedules. I told my sister, no, I am not moving in with you unless you stop cooking. And you know what? They listened. Because when you speak honestly and lovingly, people listen more than you think. But wait, let me tell you something funny. About 3 weeks after my wife passed, my granddaughter, she's 10, asked me, "Grandpa, do you miss Grandma?" I nodded. Then she asked, "Do you think Grandma misses you?" I said, "Of course she does." And that little angel replied, "Well, she shouldn't because you snore too loud." And I swear, friend, for the first time since my wife passed, I laughed so hard I almost rejoined her. Kids, I tell you, they have a way of cracking your grief open just enough to let light in. But here's the deeper part. After a spouse dies, your role in the family changes, and nobody warns you about that. Suddenly, you're not husband or wife anymore. You become the surviving parent. To some, that means you're fragile. To others, that means you're strong. To some, it means you're lonely. And to others, it means you should remarry immediately. My neighbor even asked me at the grocery store, "Paul, you thinking about dating again?" I said, "Dating? I'm 80. At my age, dating means sharing a crossword puzzle and hoping my dentures stay in place." But the point is, everyone will have opinions about how you should handle life after loss. And most of those opinions aren't about you, they're about them. So here's something I want you to remember. You're allowed to do grief your way. If you want company, say so. If you want space, say so. If you want help, ask. If you don't want advice, say, "I love you, but please, not right now." And you know what else? You don't owe anybody an explanation for how you're coping. Not your kids, not your in-laws, not your cousins, not even that one aunt who thinks she's the family psychologist. But while you protect your heart, don't lock it. Let the people who love you come close. Let them sit beside you. Let them bring you meals. Let them talk nonsense that makes you smile. Let them cry with you. Let them annoy you. Let them love you in those imperfect, beautiful ways families do. Because here's the thing. When my wife died, I thought I lost everything. But I discovered something surprising. I didn't lose my family. I changed with them. And that change brought new closeness I never expected. And friend, before I continue, let this old man say this gently to you. If you've made it this far listening to my rambling old voice, you're stronger than you think. And if my stories mean something to you, well, hitting that little like button, dropping a comment, or subscribing to the channel, it keeps this old man talking, keeps the stories flowing, and honestly, it makes me feel like I'm sitting across from more friends than I ever expected at this age. But don't worry, I'm not forcing you. Do it only if your heart wants to. If not, just stay here with me. I'm happy with that too. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. Things started shifting in the months after. Little moments showed me what healing with family really looks like. One morning, my son called and asked, "Dad, can I come over?" His voice was soft, deeper than usual. When he arrived, he didn't bring a gadget, he didn't bring a tool, he didn't bring a distraction. He just sat next to me and said, "I miss Mom." That was the first time he said it out loud. And friend, hearing your grown child break like that, it's like hearing an echo of your own heartbreak. But that day, instead of hiding my pain, I told him, me too, every day. And we talked for hours. We shared stories about her. Funny ones, embarrassing ones, ones that made us laugh until tears turned into hiccups, and ones that made our voices shake. That conversation rebuilt our relationship in a way nothing else could. And you will have moments like that too. Moments where honesty becomes a bridge between you and the people you love. Moments where grief brings closeness instead of distance. But I also learned something else. Not every family member will handle things well. Some might become distant. Some might avoid talking about your partner because they fear making you cry. Some might get awkward, like they're walking on eggshells around you. Some might irritate you so much you want to throw a pillow at them. And that's okay. They're learning too. They've lost someone important to them too. And grief makes beginners of us all. But don't let expectations become resentment. Your family doesn't have to be perfect. They just have to be willing. And you just need to give them space to show up in their way. Friend, let me tell you the truth as I see it after 80 years. Grief may be heavy, but family can lighten it if you let them. Even the chaotic ones, even the clueless ones, even the ones who talk too much or too little. Love them anyway. Guide them gently, and let them guide you too. But don't worry, this story isn't over. There's still more I want to share with you. More lessons, more laughter, more of the things life taught me the hard way. So stay with me a little longer. We've still got a journey to take together. Now, friend, let me take you deeper into what happened during that first year without my wife. Because the truth is, dealing with family after losing your partner isn't one moment or one conversation. It's a long stretch of days where every sunrise teaches you something new, and every sunset takes something old away. One particular moment still sits in my memory like it happened this morning. I was sitting on the porch at around 5 in the afternoon. You know that time of day. The light is soft, the air is heavy, and everything feels slower, like the world is holding its breath just long enough for old men like me to catch up. I was staring at the garden Laura used to tend to. She loved that garden more than she loved my cooking, and that's saying something. My daughter came over quietly. She didn't say a word at first. She just looked at the roses, then at me, and softly she whispered, "Dad, how did you and Mom stay so close all those years?" I didn't answer immediately. I had to swallow the lump in my throat first. Then I told her the truth, because every day we chose each other, even on the days we didn't like each other. She nodded, and for the first time since the funeral, she cried openly. Not the polite tears people try to hide, real tears, the kind that fall heavy and make puddles on the floor of your soul. And in that moment, I learned something. Your family isn't always looking to fix you. Sometimes they're asking you to help them heal too. You're not just the one grieving, you're the one they still look to. You're the one who carries stories they never heard, memories they never lived, and lessons they still need. But healing with family doesn't always look sweet and tender. Oh no, sometimes it looks like chaos wrapped in confusion. One day, my son came to my house, furious, not at me, at life, at grief, at loss, at the way everything felt unfair. He yelled, he paced, his voice shook, and then he looked at me and said, "Dad, why did she leave? Why couldn't she stay?" And I looked at my fully grown 6'2" son, and I saw a little boy again. The same boy who used to run to Laura when he scraped his knee. The same boy who used to hide behind her when thunderstorms shook the sky. I couldn't give him answers, so I gave him the only thing I had left, presence. I reached out, pulled him close, and I held him. And that giant of a man broke in my arms the way I broke in my daughter's. Grief has no age. It turns us all back into children. But family has a strange magic. Every time you fall apart together, you somehow piece each other back together again. Not perfectly, not neatly, but enough to keep walking. Another thing I learned? You have to remind your family and yourself that you're still your own person. You're still alive. You're still allowed to laugh, to breathe, to live, to enjoy the sunshine, to eat ridiculous amounts of chocolate pudding if you want to. For a while, my family wouldn't let me lift a finger. "Dad, don't carry that. Dad, sit down. Dad, don't go outside alone. Dad, don't do the laundry. You might wash the cat by accident." Friend, I raised these people. I survived wars, heartbreaks, parenthood, and taxes. And suddenly, they think I can't use a washing machine? I had to remind them gently, "Hey, I may be grieving, but I'm not helpless. I'm sad, not broken." And you'll have to remind your family too, because sometimes love makes people overprotective, and sometimes overprotection feels like a cage. A soft, "I love you, but give me some space," can do wonders. But here's a part few people talk about. Sometimes family tension gets worse after a spouse passes. Old conflicts suddenly rise like dust from under a rug. Siblings argue, in-laws act weird. People fight about things that don't even matter. Heck, one of my nieces argued with her brother over who should take home a ceramic frog my wife bought at a yard sale. A ceramic frog! I wanted to throw it at both of them. But family conflict after loss is normal. Everyone's emotions are extra sensitive. Everyone is trying to hold on to something. Everyone is scared of forgetting. Everyone is scared of changing. So be patient and be the calm one when you can. And when you can't be the calm one, be honest about it. But let's talk about something beautiful now, something healing. Months after my wife passed, there was a day, I remember the exact second, when I felt her presence so deeply it startled me. I was in the kitchen, burning toast as usual, and suddenly I heard her voice in my head saying, "Paul, how hard is it to not burn bread? It's literally the only job the toaster has." And instead of crying, I laughed, a real belly-shaking laugh. And in that laugh, I understood something. She wasn't gone, not completely, not as long as I remembered her, not as long as I spoke about her, not as long as I carried her love into the way I treated my family. That's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to make my family walk around my grief like it was a minefield. I invited them in. I shared stories. I told jokes. I let them tell jokes too, even the insensitive ones. I let her memory breathe in the house again. And you know what happened? Healing began. Slow, gentle, imperfect healing. The kind that comes through shared stories, shared meals, shared laughter, shared quiet moments when nobody speaks, but everyone understands. But healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means growing around the loss instead of being swallowed by it. And friend, you can do that. You can grow. You can lead your family through the darkness by letting your own light flicker, even if it's small. And when the days get hard, because they will, remind yourself of this simple truth. You survived the unimaginable. You're still here. That alone makes you stronger than you realize. One more story before I end this talk, because it taught me the final lesson I want to give you. It was a rainy evening, soft rain, the kind that makes you think the sky is whispering instead of crying. My granddaughter came over again, holding a little notebook. She told me she was working on a school project and needed to interview someone old. I told her, "Well, sweetheart, I definitely qualify." She asked me, "Grandpa, what's the most important thing you learned after Grandma died?" And friend, the answer came out of me without thinking. That love doesn't end just because a person isn't here anymore. It just changes shape. It turns into memory, into wisdom, into strength, and into the way we treat each other after. She wrote that down, then hugged me the way a child hugs, with all arms and no hesitation. And that night, I slept more peacefully than I had in months. So if you're asking me how to deal with your family after your husband or wife passes, here's my answer, simple and human. Let them love you. Let them mess up. Let them learn you again. Let them grieve with you. Let them help you. Let them annoy you. Let them comfort you. Let them grow with you. And let the memory of your partner guide all of you, not weigh you down. And now, friend, since we're here at the end of our little heart-to-heart, let me tell you something in the same gentle way I'd say it if we were sitting together on my porch. If this story made you feel understood, if it warmed your heart even a little, if it helped you breathe easier tonight, well, you might enjoy the other stories I've shared too. They're floating somewhere on this screen now, the best two my friends picked just for you. No pressure, no rush. You can click on one if you want to stay with me a little longer, or you can come back later. This old man isn't going anywhere. But if you do decide to watch another one, I'll be right there, waiting with another story, another laugh, another warm moment to share. Go on, friend. Choose whichever one your heart feels curious about. I'll meet you over there.